Hey guys, today we're gonna go try to find some old video games and toys, and we're gonna fail miserably because we're going to flea markets. And if you've never been to a flea market, then well, just look and see what you got here. I mean, this place, it looks condemned, but I can assure you it's actually not. You can go inside and look at the mess that is in there. And if you've never been to a flea market before in the inner city, then congratulations, because you don't have to deal with all of this mess. Now, we've been to flea markets before. In fact, we were in the flea market at the end of the last video, but that was definitely that was a nice flea market. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't just junk thrown everywhere like in this one. And if you're wondering where this is Peddler's Mall on East Washington Street in Indianapolis. And you can just tell by the looks of it that it's seen better days. It's bad. Like, me and my friend used to come here all the time back in the day, and it's a shell of what it used to be. I mean, right here you've just got clothes laying on shelves. Back here you've got women's underwear just laying in a pile, I guess. And the big seller, just tubs of cleaning chemicals sitting out front of that one. Yeah. Don't despair though, because we do have at least one vendor back here that's trying desperately to sell a bunch of video games that he found at a garage sale and tossed it in a glass case. Got a few Xbox One games, a few PS4 games, and a whole lot of sports games for the 360 and PS3. Just exactly what you would expect to find in a place like this. Got a Nintendo 64 with an expansion card slot put in there, GameCube, and one of those shitty Wiis that doesn't connect to the internet. But really, I mean, that's about it. This is the good stuff, by the way. This is the stuff behind the case. Some Genesis games that everyone else has. An Elmo Nintendo 64 game in the glass case, by the way. Like I said, this is the good shit. And of course, every collection's finest moment, Fester's Quest on the NES. Over here in the other glass case, we've got a few Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy games, and some DS games next to those. Nothing too special, just your usual suspects of kids' games and junk like that you'd expect to find in a garage sale or a flea market. Got a rave going on over here at the jewelry case. And behind that, we've got just a pile of toys that this guy's just got sitting back on a shelf. Normally, I wouldn't mind digging through this, but I mean, it's just bad. Plus, Annabelle's over here staring at me, so we gotta go. And if you're expecting to find any classic toys or anything like that around here, then get ready for more disappointment, because this is what you get. It's a bunch of dollar store at best toys. I mean, a lot of this stuff probably isn't even good enough to go in dollar stores these days. Got your foam shooters, a pool set, other assorted crap. Like those guns that shoots those propellers that actually injures kids every time you do it. And over here you got a Dino Spinosaurus. It's got a try me thing. I desperately wanted to, but you can't. There's plastic there. Got a police playset here that comes with just about everything that a modern cop has, including a Bowie knife. And over here we've probably got the most exciting thing I've seen next to this weird Gundam looking thing. And holy shit, it's Universal War with not Darth Vader and his very tiny not stormtroopers. I actually almost bought that thing. And then of course you've got your not My Little Ponies. And here it's Lovely Pony. And if you want to get serious about finding anything in a flea market like this, then this is what you kind of got to do. Just find one of these booths that's got a ton of DVDs in it and hope they've stuck a video game in it somewhere, and also hope that it's not Tiger Woods' PGA Tour. But yeah, this is really what it comes down to, but it's 99% of the time you're going to find a pile of Madden sitting up there. And over here we've got yet another Madden 2005 sitting in between video games, but we've also got World Championship cards sitting up here. I could finally feed my gambling addiction thanks to the PlayStation 2. And of course, it wouldn't be a crappy flea market experience without a giant glass case filled with terrible weapons. And here we go, including Jesus hanging on some guy's terrible tribal tattoo. And all of the designs that you could ever want for whatever stabby thing you can buy. Including hot pink on a switchblade. Nothing says I'm dangerous like hot pink. And neon katanas. Think about that for a minute. Somebody bought that and thought that was badass. This is the Weekend Warriors Flea Market in Muncie, Indiana. There's a reason we're actually here. It's not this place, but we'll get to that here in a minute. But while we were here, we decided to check out Weekend Warriors to see what we got. And it's like this weird mix of like an antique store and just crap. It's it's a neat little place. It's like it's a bunch of random little rooms that have been taped together, almost like you're going down in your grandma's basement or something, and it's just a bunch of random stuff literally everywhere. Got a super hot 90210 lunchbox there for you. Along with some others, but down here was the real prize, Menudo, along with a Just Say No sticker on it. Back here in this room, we've got just a bunch of new and old board games, but a lot of these, they actually were back from like the 50s and 60s. And I love this old 50s and 60s aesthetic. Like it's my thing. And I was totally just super excited to see some of these chilling around. A lot of them, they were pretty much complete too. Don't see those every day, along with this giant barrel of monkeys. Now these are, if you've never seen these, this is what you had to do to play virtual baseball or football before like you could play electronic baseball or football. I used to have the football version of this. Basically it's this metal board that you plug into the wall outlet and you set your little guys on the field. And then whenever you wanted to do something, you press the button and it vibrates the metal of the field, and then everybody on the field just looks like they're having like the worst stroke of their entire lives, and they sort of move around. You were supposed to be able to play a game like that. I never could. I had, like I said, I had the football one. It was just a mess, but it was always fun to make them vibrate around the field. Over here we got an old turtle in the package. This was back when they were just making them do whatever. Like, I don't know, make them play soccer, who cares? And back here was the true highlight. Just a rack of fedoras, custom fedoras. Like this one has like skeleton parts just glued onto it for some reason. I don't know what that one is, but here, got one with just an Eggo logo on it. And next on the other side, a pink Batman logo. So special. But anyway, yeah, this is kind of the back part. There's not much more to this, so I didn't really put any more video in here. It's a neat little place. If you're in Muncie and you like weird flea markets, go check it out because it is filled to the brim with weird stuff. Worth checking out. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another retro game video toy hunt thing. I don't know what these are anymore. It's just kind of a mess. But we're going to start out with everyone's favorite crappy East Side flea market, Peddler's Mall. And we haven't been here since I think it was episode 2. So if you want to see the horrors that we managed to find in this place, then please go check out that video or whatever video it was on. I don't remember. Starting up here first, though, we've actually got a cool little booth here that's got some neat stuff in it. I mean, nothing crazy, but it's at least better than seeing vats of chemical waste just sitting out in the middle of aisles. Got that cool Batman action figure, whatever the fuck it is. It's neat. I like that thing. And up here, just a bunch of Marvel stuff and Skylanders that you see everywhere. But the guy does have the world's largest collection of crazy Nerf guns. So if you're in the market for finding weapons of mass destruction involving Nerf, then check this booth out. Down here we've got some manga. I think it's like, yeah, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Never mind. And down here some nice strategy guides / art books. This is BioShock Infinite. It's actually a nice little strategy guide thing. And over here, not too much, but this sure caught my eye. That's Spawn. Someone drew Spawn and put it in a frame. Someone was really proud of that. It can be yours for $15. Back here, we've got a few things. Nothing too crazy, but, Animal World's fun. 1,000-piece puzzle. Up here, we've got nut combination of 100 variable car. I don't know. Kind of neat to see Dinosaur World. And Biochemical Polois. But right below that, Zombie State Diplomacy of the Dead. I've actually seen this at conventions. This is a real board game. It also weighs 10 pounds because it's full of shit. Kind of cool to see this here for 10 bucks. Back here beside the DVD rack of sadness. Another small booth, but it does have Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 in the box, sitting back here, not looking like it's been dragged behind a truck for a while. And it sure does look Roller Coaster Tycoon-y. And back behind it, a whole bunch of puzzle games for your grandma for $2.25, satisfaction guaranteed. This case did actually have a few things that was kind of neat to see. Pops, if you're into that. Still trying to sell that Starlink, like most stores are. Got an Xbox 360 with a few different games. Actual decent collection of games. It's not just a bunch of Maddens and Tiger Woods. Over here, though, we've got a Super Nintendo for 200 bucks. And the games that come along with it are boxed versions of Populous, R-Type, F-Zero, Hyperzone, and a baseball game back there. But, you know, not too bad of a collection there for 200 bucks. And the Super NES looks decent. And that's going to do it for the flea market here. Not too much. I mean, it's the same old, but it's fun to come over here and just check out some of the random stuff they've got from time to time. It was in pretty bad shape last time we came over here, but this time, not too bad. Now, people have asked me before, Jeremy, has anything ever bad happened trying to take video of any of these places? I mean, some of these places look pretty rough. And the answer is 99% of the time, no, nothing bad ever happens. But this is one of those rare 1% times, and it's at this place that I'm not gonna name. First impressions are basically it's a hoarder's den with a few decent booths. I don't want to talk too much shit because I did see a few vendors here that have some nice booths. But it was at this point, coming around the corner, we noticed that we were being followed. And actually, if you look back in this previous scene, this guy right here, he was darting around watching us. And I didn't actually know that at the time, I was just trying to take video. But once we were going down this hallway, it was pretty obvious that we had two fairly large guys following directly behind us, and they were very interested in what we were doing. I was trying to get some video of this booth because it looked like it had some pretty cool stuff, but you know, it's covered in chicken wire. Can't really focus on much of anything. But once we got done with this and I turned the corner, those guys behind us boxed us in, and as I was looking at another booth, another guy came from the front and boxed us in from that direction as well. Pretty much not letting us out. Until I noticed what was kind of going on and I put my camera in my pocket, then they kind of backed off a little bit. So let's slowly back away from this flea market. Again, I'm not gonna mention what this flea market's name is or where it's at because I genuinely don't think anyone should be coming here. Not so much because they wanted us to stop taking video. Again, that's not a problem, but just the way they acted. If you ever go into a place and people are actually like following you around and watching what you're looking at or taking video of, that's never a good sign. And I will leave it to you to figure out why. Next up, we're gonna go literally across the street to this place called Vendor's Village. This is actually inside the Terre Haute Mall. I believe this used to be one of their big stores. I don't know which one it was, but it's kind of right next to the JCPenney. And yeah, this place has just been converted into a huge flea market slash antique place. And you know, if you know how big some of these anchor stores are, like JCPenney, that's literally how big this place is. So there's hundreds of booths to go through. Not everything's a winner, but it's definitely not a bunch of trash like we've been through in Indy. We do get a small booth dedicated to books, video games, and more. And true to its name, we do have some video games. Over here, we've got a game that I hadn't seen in quite a while. It's a game that's very special to me. It's amped for the original Xbox. Now, if you've never played it, I can't blame you, but let me show you why you should play it, because it's probably not why you're expecting.
You are welcome to Ski Patrol!
Yes, let's make violent sports together!
Yeah, that's just one of the dozens of cutscenes that are in this game that's about snowboarding. But it's like all like 2000 era Adult Swim kind of stuff. It's hilariously bad. Actually, just don't even play AMP. Just go to YouTube and look at all those cutscenes. Up here we got some more Xbox goodness with Project Gotham, one of my all-time favorite racing games. And I actually thought this was a game too, but turns out it's a movie. But you know, I probably do actually need to learn how to do this. And over here is the main reason why you probably want to come to Vendor Village. Just this huge lane of glass display cases filled with all kinds of craziness. And there's a lot more that I wanted to get some video of, but I swear to God, everyone I went up to, somebody had just pulled up and parked their ass there for like a good 10 minutes. But what I was glad that I got to see was this random thing that didn't look like there was anything in it besides army fatigues. But then the rest of it was just piled with tons upon tons of Game Boy, NES, Super NES, TurboGrafx, you name it, import games. I was just gobsmacked, like including these Famicom disk drive things. I've never seen one of these in my life, but apparently it's one of those Japanese only kind of things that you could go to stores and like add content to like Zelda and stuff. Again, I'm not too up on it, but it was really cool to see. And just slapped in this case that's just filled with junk. I apologize for the reflection, but you know, there's only so much I can do with that. But you can kind of see just how much is here. It's insane. If you ever wanted to start an import collection and you live in Indiana, come on down here. The prices weren't too bad for this stuff. Over here in this case, we've got a very naked Chewbacca, along with this old school ET Halloween costume. I never had that one, but I can still feel that plastic scraping across my face and getting really sweaty, because that's just kind of how Halloween costumes was when I was a kid. And down here, holy shit, we've got a Robo helmet.
Now, the helmet, the look, the power of RoboCop.
Has anything ever looked cooler than that kid in that commercial? The answer is no, but I'm almost willing to buy that to give him a run for his money. Everybody, and welcome back. It's been a minute since we've done one of these, and naturally the only place that we could actually start is at a flea market. And that's what we're going to do today at Trader Baker's in Martinsville, Indiana. And we're going to start over here at the glass cases with some Pokemon and random crap. But the one thing I did actually notice is down here at this booth, we'll get here in a second, but this guy is actually selling reproductions. He doesn't have it marked anywhere. There's no signage saying that he's selling actual reproductions. But obviously, if you take a moment to look at these, especially the Game Boy games, some of these games don't even exist. They're actually just reproductions. And, you know, even the Pokemon Yellow there, the yellow wasn't even right. It's kind of hard to see in video, but it was completely off. So I just thought that was kind of weird, you know, not having any signage at least saying, because, you know, somebody could just roll up thinking that they're getting the real thing and they come out with a cheap reproduction. So that kind of weird to see it at one of these flea markets. Next up, just walking around, I noticed this booth over here with a bunch of stuff in plastic cases. That usually means there's games, but this is actually like European money. I don't know if it was like fake or anything like that. And you know, seemed like it was real money, but the guy's just kind of selling it here. But then he's also got import Super Famicom games mixed in. And I don't know if you all remember a video that we did last year at a flea market that was like 2 hours away, but this other guy had a glass case filled with import Super Famicom games that was mixed in with like random military memorabilia. And it was a strange combination. And the whole time I was looking at these, I was like, man, these kind of look like that booth. And sure enough, when you go around the side of the booth, there's just a bunch of like military fatigues and ammo cases. I don't understand. I don't know if this is like the same guy, but just why? Over here, this completely caught me off guard. This awesome Resident Evil 2 RPD hoodie. And it's not very much money. My brother actually ended up buying this. Just really cool. And next to it, we've also got this Breath of the Wild hoodie. And behind it, some Fallout stuff. And all of this was like official merch, you know, from Bethesda and Nintendo and stuff. So this was really neat to see. This awesome Sub-Zero shirt back in the back. I almost bought that for myself. But yeah, this is actually a really cool little booth, and the owner of it actually has his art on display here, and I really got a kick out of the art. This is some great stuff. Especially that Mortal Kombat character select screen. Awesome. Honestly, this is why I love coming to a lot of these flea markets. We find a lot of just nothing most of the time, but then again, you do find little gems like this booth. And if you're ever in Martinsville at the Trader Baker's flea market, go in the back and check this booth out. It's well worth it. Alright everybody, welcome back to yet another retro game and toy hunt. And today we're starting off at Emporium 31, which is a big ass flea market down in Greenwood, Indiana. And right off the bat, yep, we've got a bunch of fake games. Just like that previous booth in the last video, we've got a case filled with fake Game Boy and Nintendo 64 games, probably from the same guy. And just like the other one, there's no actual signage or anything saying that these are reproductions or anything like that. So I can only assume that this is just a shitty reseller trying to make a quick buck off unsuspecting people, and that sucks. And down here on the floor, we've got a squishy brain, and I have really no clue what this is, but anytime I see weird anatomy-based science toys, I instantly gravitate towards it. I was always like that, you know, even as a kid, I loved those see-through model kits and stuff like that, and even weird shit like this.
First, you put monster flesh on their creepy little bones. Then pour flesh remover into the monster lab and bubble off their flab. Too yucky.
So yeah, of course, I totally think this is awesome, and if I was a kid, I've been begging for some money to buy this thing. And out of the corner of my eye over here, we've got a box full of Xena. That's right, all the Xena that your VCR can handle for 20 bucks. I mean, VHS is coming back, so you better get your Xena while you can. And speaking of VHS tapes, we've got the making of Michael Jackson's Thriller just sitting over here. This is awesome. I actually remember watching this on MTV back in the day. That should tell you exactly how old I am. And of course, it wouldn't be a flea market unless you saw a booth filled with the absolute crappiest weapons you've ever seen. And I mean, I get that these are supposed to be decorative, but honestly, people, really, are you decorating your house with this stuff? Because if you are, I got some questions for you. I mean, some of this shit is just so goddamn ridiculous. Look at these fucking claws. Look at them. All right, we've got one more booth here, and then maybe we can escape this flea market hell. This guy, he's got a variety of stuff, and it really doesn't seem like he focuses on any one thing. Maybe like Pokemon cards, because he definitely has a nice collection of those. But otherwise, he's just, you know, got some stuff like these Star Wars figures, these god-awful little mini-figures that I can't fucking stand because they're so expensive. But yeah, over here is probably his most prized possession, which is this case of old Pokemon cards. Now, I don't really know anything about Pokemon cards. I was never into that stuff as a kid, but, you know, maybe this stuff gets you going. It really doesn't for me. And over here in the Do Not Touch section, we got a bunch of old wrestling figures, a G.I. Joe, and a Trivial Pursuit Star Wars game for some reason. I'm not sure why he doesn't want you to touch them, because they're not really worth anything. And then over here we've got some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in plastic baggies. And you guys know how much I love my plastic baggies, especially if they got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in them. And this guy had some interesting turtles in some of these. Some you don't actually see. Like of course you got the Naked Leo, but this astronaut Raph back here is pretty cool. They'll see him every day. But down there below it, so this really caught my eye. This is like a crate full of old Kmart baseball cards, and they're all brand new. Like, how do you find these? Where do you get these from? It's the mysteries of the flea market. But yeah, that's going to do it for this flea market. Again, this is Emporium 31. That's down in Greenwood, Indiana. Huge, just an absolutely massive flea market. They gutted out an entire strip mall. It would take like all day to go through this thing and actually, look through it and not just find stupid shit like we do. But yeah, it's a pretty cool place if you want to waste half of a day, so check it out. All right, quick test to see if you guys have been paying attention to these videos. What do you think this place is going to be like? If you answered this, then you know your flea markets. And I have no excuse for this place. Sometimes my curiosity gets the best of me, and we end up in places like this. Places where you probably shouldn't actually be, because, I mean, look at this. Just look at it. My God. I mean, I guess if you want some baby clothes, they got you covered over here. We got some onesies, got some shirts. And oh my God, what the hell is even happening in here? And I am not gonna touch those bottoms. But yeah, the real highlight to this place was this cool ass flea market cat. I think he just wandered in off the street or something. I don't even think he knows where he is.
Yeah, you're a good flea market kitty.
It don't matter though, he's fine. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this place. I apologize, we're gonna get out of here. I mean, this place is literally the gates to hell. So let's just get out of here and act like this never actually happened. Or not. Welcome to Trader Baker's Flea Market. And while it's just a little bit better than what we got done with, it's still mostly just a bunch of mess that no one would want. But let's go in and see if we can find anything anyway. Starting things off, we've got this case up here it's actually got some video games in it, believe it or not. Got a bunch of in-box Sega Genesis games. Some decent stuff here. Boogerman, Taz, Primal Rage, X-Men 2. I mean, it's not great, but hey, it's better than just looking at a bunch of Maddens. Like this Madden 07 that's sitting right here. Up top, we've got a bunch of Super NES games and a PSP there. I think it's 20 bucks. 20 bucks? Yes, 20 bucks. That's not a bad deal for a PSP, actually. I'd pay 20 bucks for a PSP. Over here, we got a few more Sega Genesis games, including like Wolverine, Maximum Carnage, Echo, Altered Beast. Again, like actual fun stuff to sort of look at and not trash. And over here, we've got Castle of Illusion in the box. And behind that, everyone's favorite Simpsons game, Virtual Bart. Can't win them all. And over here, we've got a toy booth, I guess. Really not much going on. It's just a bunch of, looks like modern stuff that maybe people have bought at closeout stores and then stuck them in here. We've got some fine selection of toys that no one wanted at your local Targets and Walmarts. You kind of hope to see like collectibles, but I mean, this is all just regular stuff. Nobody wants these. Why would you put these here? But you do get Sparkle Girls, and that's worth it. But around the corner, we did actually get a few classic toys that somebody's just spread out across these shelves, including some Turtles figures like Casey Jones here that was eternally stuck to the shelf. I couldn't get him off. And we've got this weird cat action figure that I don't know what it's from, but I'm sure somebody in the comments will immediately let me know. Over here, we got a pile of old Turtles with no accessories, so that's probably not worth anything. And just a bunch of old wrestling toys from like the 90s, I think. I don't know, I don't really keep up with wrestling toys at all. But I don't know, always kind of fun to see that stuff. But really, that's going to do it for this place. We are going to go ahead and head over to our final location, and yes, it's another flea market. But first, I'm going to put the Hulkster back over here where he belongs. Hold on to your butts, everybody, because we're going to Treasures, which is in actually like Mooresville, Indiana. I believe that's where it is. And this isn't the junkiest place. This is definitely a higher quality flea market. As you can see, like this, I mean, it doesn't look like it at first glance, but this booth actually has, some NASCAR stuff, some memorabilia. I mean, hey, that's way better than a bunch of cleaning chemicals just sitting around. But back here in this booth, holy shit, is that a Sonic the Hedgehog mask? It is. for $5. And they say you don't find anything at flea markets. I think this instantly proves them wrong. Can't wait to wear this out at night. Over here in the same booth, we've got a small selection of Wii games, and some DVDs down here like The Simpsons, junk like that. Up here we got some PS2 games, and Future Tactics back there was actually kind of fun to see. I know that's not a very good game, but I enjoy it. I apologize for my camera work. I'm still learning that you guys can't actually see what's through my eyes, and I have to look through the actual, on the screen of what I'm recording. That makes sense, right? Over here we've got 2 Extreme for the PlayStation, and that is an all-time favorite bad game of mine. And just down the road here, we've got another ESPN Extreme Games. I did not actually play that one, but next to that, every music CD I owned in the 90s somehow. Got REM Out of Time, got Extreme Games, the CD. I actually owned this as a kid, I'm not kidding. I ended up buying this because I lost it at some point. Incubus, just so many memories right here. EMF, Gravity Kills, God, I miss that CD. And just out of nowhere, Jet Moto 2. Somebody at this booth has had some great taste. And over here we've got just a bunch of like toilet stuff and jeans hanging on the wall. But out of nowhere, there's this Cuphead plushie. It's like an official Cuphead plushie. It's not bootleg or anything. But it's just sitting here next to like this stuff. Why? You know, after going to these flea markets today, I wish there was vodka in here. Back in the back of the flea market, we get something that I did not expect to see at all in this place, and that is Cruisin' World. Like a full arcade cabinet for it. Like I remember sitting in Walmart for hours, like begging my parents for coins to play this game and Cruisin' USA and these types of games. I loved driving games as a kid. And this one looks pretty dusty and probably not worth the asking price. Let's see what asking price it is. $1,200 on sale, spring sale. And back here in the corner is probably one of the worst video game booths I've ever seen. If you thought the booth in the very first flea market was something else, well, this one's got a little bit more, but the quality is still way below what you would ever imagine. I mean, you do get a few PSP games here. You got Loco Roco 2, you got some Super NES games. MechWarrior 3050 ain't bad. But the rest of this stuff, like, it's just the Super Black Bass, Super Mario Duck Hunt, every single Nintendo 64 sports game you could ever want. Again, this is behind glass. This is the good stuff. Blows my mind. Over here in this case, we've got some Xbox 360 controllers going for way too much money. And just, you know, some old accessories, like an old wireless headset for the 360. Do get a Game Boy for $70. It's kind of neat to see a Game Boy among the rest of this crap. But really, I mean, that's what you're left with. Just a whole lot of Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games. Loose batteries. None of this is in any order. It's just like tossed into a glass case for you to peruse. Over here, this guy is actually selling systems, and first up is an Atari 2600 Junior that he has for $150. I mean, it comes with 10 games, but you can buy that for like $50 on eBay. Got a PS3 Slim down here for $130. What is going on? Got a few PlayStation games over here, and I mean, it's really not much. There's another one Extreme. Shit, I can have a whole Extreme collection coming at this flea market. And you know things are bad when I actually pick up a copy of Fantavision to look at it. When that's the most interesting thing you have around, you know things are bad. But back here in the opposite corner is an actual, like, cool little booth. I mean, this guy, he's kind of doing the video game stuff too, but most of it is just like really cool old toys. Vintage toys even. First up though, we've got his NES, and this one's got some games with it and stuff like that. $85, that's not too bad. Like, that's way better than $150 for an Atari 2600. And down here is Super NES and a Genesis. $79 for the Super Nintendo and $60 for the Sega Genesis, which actually comes with games. I mean, it's hard driving, but hey, it's a game. But yeah, the rest of this booth was just a ton of like 60s and 70s like records, board games, vintage toys. He does have some modern stuff in here as well, but I mean, it's really cool to see this stuff. This isn't quite my time period for stuff that I'm into, like I'm more 80s and 90s, but like to see these old board games and these old toys from that time period, it just always fascinates me. It's always fun to see like what people did back before video games and cell phones ruined everyone's social activity. And down here we've got Alf next to a Michael Jordan. You know this booth is legit as hell. Just some really cool stuff to look at. Hey, I mean, this booth kind of won the day for me. After all the shit that we've had to deal with in this video, this booth actually kind of made up for it. And I think that's gonna actually do it. I apologize for this video. There was nothing. I thought, no, like going to 3 flea markets, we could at least find something. And if it wasn't for that one vintage toy booth that we just got done looking at, I don't think I would have put this video up. This was just bad. And let this be a lesson. If you want to go to flea markets, I mean, if you're into flea markets, then by all means. There's enough people on YouTube that genuinely find some cool stuff. But this is what I found. Like, look at this booth. What is this? Why? This is not worth my time. I don't enjoy digging through stuff like this. I mean, it's kind of funny on some level, but otherwise, nah. Anyway, join us next time when we hopefully get back to what we meant to do in these videos when we go to actual stores that carry video games and not professional knife sets. So let's just mark this one up as a loss, and I'm gonna thank you for sitting through this and watching. Hopefully next time we find some better stuff. So I'll see you guys later. And again, thanks for watching.